Hey, what's up guys, OSG here with a new video on what I would say were the best games that were never released on the C64. By not released I mean started but either never finished or taken on by a publisher. There are some real gems in amongst the 10 I have picked, but some are very much work in progress. But even so, they got me excited on just how good these games would be if they were ever finished. Some have no music or sound, so I've added background music, but I will state that in the video. Okay, let's kick it off with a sequel to one of the most well-known shooters on the system, and that's Armalyte 2. The game was under development from Cyberdyne Systems, which was responsible for the first game, and it's much the same style too, but with a more colourful ship, better enemy AI, and a weapon upgrade shop. Unfortunately, the game was never made due to the team being contracted out to System 3 and being busy on games such as Last Ninja 3. Behemoth is next, and again this is very much a prototype demo with no sound or music. It's an Armalyte clone from the guys at Walking Circles. Walking Circles did a lot of work for Dormark on the C64, but at this time that work had dried up due to the rise of the Amiga and Dormark concentrating on that. Again, this game never made the final cut though, mostly down to the demise of the platform in favour of the 16-bit era. Next we have Bomb, and this is apparently the sequel to the awesome game Risk on the C64. I think personally it's too far removed from that game to be a sequel, but one thing for sure, it's an awesome game in its own right. For me this is more like Scramble on steroids, and I had so much fun playing it. The game only has one level, but imagine if this was finished. Unfortunately, it was a kind of fun project from Chris and Tony West, and they had to go and work on different projects so it never got finished. Next we have the sequel to Enforcer, Enforcer 2. Enforcer was made way after the C64 lifespan, and it was in my video on best shoot 'em ups for the system. The original game was great, but as we can see here, the sequel was not only going to live up to how good that game was, but surpass it. For being work in progress, this is really impressive, with great looks and music. The developer has unfortunately been ill, so all work has stopped on this. Next we have Fight Run, and this is a fun little fighting game that was developed as a mix between Bruce Lee and Street Fighter 2, although I get a real Super Smash Bros vibe from it, obviously on an 8-bit scale though. Apparently it was going to have B-movie actors in as playable fighters such as David Hasselhoff. I mean, who thinks of this stuff? Anyway, the game was started and shelved in 2006, so we won't be fighting as a Mighty Hoff anytime soon. Here we have Moonstone, and this is maybe the least developed out of all the games on the list, but it's also the one that got me most excited. I love Moonstone on the Amiga, and it would be great to see it adapted to the 8-bit. There's a great rendition of the classic Amiga intro given the 8-bit treatment. After that, the game is proper work in progress, with only the map where you can fight a boar and practice options available. Still though, although nowhere near finished, I think it's a pretty impressive start and hope that one day it gets finished. Planets of Death now, and this is maybe the worst game on the list, but it has a lot of promise as a decent shooter if the hit detection, speed and terrible enemy patterns were sorted out. Again, no sound or music, but one thing I do like about this game is that the enemies crash into the walls, which is something that you don't see very often. Next we have Scramble 2010, which started development in 2009, and as it never got released, the name is a bit redundant now. Anyway, this is Scramble on another level. The graphics are great, and the ship kinda reminds me of Saxion ship. While for me it's not as good as Bomb, which was shown earlier, it is still a great looking game, which for some reason never got finished, and maybe never will. Next up is Spooky, and this is undoubtedly the best looking and scrolling game I have ever seen on the C64. It's got a real Castlevania feel for me, and the music is class. The game is the work of Johan Forsloff and graphics by Paul Hellman, and it is nothing short of breathtaking what they have squeezed out of the C64. I mean, if I saw this and didn't know better, I would say it was at least 16-bit. Anyway, for now there isn't much to do in the game apart from explore the beautiful looking castle. This game needs finishing as it's a pure work of art. Last on the list is Squad 1, and this is a Delta clone. While at first it's hard, you quickly get used to the patterns, and the upgrade ship that comes to power you up is a nice touch. The reason why this game never made it is that it's a clone of a game that has been cloned over and over again, and while it's not the worst of the clones, it's certainly not the best. Okay, that's it for me. I'm up for doing more of these videos as it's been a blast finding new games to play on the C64. So if you know of any games that could have made this list, or maybe you're a developer who wants to get your game out there, let me know in the comments below. Till next time, this is OSG signing out.